Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. It's our reading through the Tanak night, the 14th of May, 2025. Okay, we'll be reading out of chapters, Genesis chapter 46 to 50. Reading through the Tanakh. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, The Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at, examine the videos, and these videos lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'd be greatly appreciated. For those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic channel. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior, our Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts. Okay, this channel was created to aid and assist Hebrews who are waking up in these last days to their true identity. Shalom and welcome to this channel. Welcome to our reading through tonight. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, prayer, Psalms. We have some current events, some need-to-know information. Then we'll open it up for anybody with any questions, comments, any dialogue. And then we got a topic for discussion, which we'll be talking about the white South Africans that's been brought over here and the drama that's surrounding. Okay, we'll play that and break it down, talk about it. Then we'll go into our reading of the scriptures. Like I said, we'll be dealing with Genesis chapters 46 through 50. Okay. Then we'll pick a scripture out, read it, break it down, and then we'll close out. Okay. This moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that he's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. We come before thee at this closing on your day of remembrance, thanking you for your mercy and for your great power. And we appreciate you, O Lord, for your patience and your guidance in these last days. O Lord, we thank you for your awakening of us to this great understanding of your word. And we come before thee that you keep and direct and guide us through this week. O Lord, we see your mighty hand in the world's affairs and how you are constructing your people's deliverance. And we trust and rely upon thee. And for this cause, we honor and respect you greatly. Turn not thy face from us, but allow us in our searching of you to find you, O Lord, and to dwell with you. Peace be unto you. Okay. So with that being said, I'll read a psalm. Okay. Okay. Read Psalm 10. Okay, it's a prayer for the overthrow of the wicked. Why standest thou far off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? The wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. For the wicked boasts of his heart's desire and blesseth the covetousness whom the Lord abhorreth. The wicked through the pride of his countenance will not seek after God. God is not in all his thoughts. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgments are far above out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. He hath said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. His mouth is full of curses and deceit and fraud. Under his tongue is mischief and vanity. He sitteth in the lurking places of the village. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent. His eyes are privately set against the poor. He lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor, to do catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth them into his net. He crouches and humbles himself that the poor may fall by his strong ones. He hath said in his heart, God hath forgotten. He hideth his face. He will never see it. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up thine hand. Forget not thy the humble. Wherefore doeth the wicked contend, God? He hath said in his heart, thou wilt not require it. Thou hast seen it, for thou beholdest mischief and spite. To requite it with thy hand. The poor committeth himself unto thee. Thou art the helper of the fatherless. Break thou the arm of the wicked, and the evil man seeketh out his wickedness till thou find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The heathens are perished out of his land. Lord, thou hast heard the desires of the humble. Thou wilt prepare their heart. Thou wilt cause thine ear to hear, to judge the fatherless and the oppressed, that the man of the earth may no more oppress. So, me reading this right here, I can see that he's talking to the rich, the people that's wealthy. It says in 8, he sits in the working places of the village. In the secret places doeth he murder the innocent, and his eyes are privately set on the poor. Right? So look at the characteristics of these people now that have the money. Right? Then it says 9, he lieth in wait secretly as a lion in his den. He lieth in wait to catch the poor. He doeth catch the poor when he draweth him into his net. So that's how he get his wealth, from preying on the wicked people, the less fortunate, and then amassed all his money, but it just greed and wickedness, and the more money you get, the wickeder you get. Okay. Any comments or questions on that? Okay. Go to the current events.
It becomes more and more apparent that it is going to take we, the people, to overcome the problem and the administration of Donald Trump. I imagine that is becoming clear to you, as it certainly is here at Occupy Democrats, and very much so in this breaking story I'm going to show you in a few seconds, which is unbelievable. And we've seen the massive protests, and now we are getting down to the point over the course and the balance of the rest of this year, all the way through the midterms in 26, that we have to go micro on the we the people. And it is indeed not 8 years ago or 10 years ago from Bernie Sanders. It is a revolution that requires poignant strategy and exact focus on what you're trying to accomplish. And let's take a quick moment, as I'm going to show you the story in a few seconds, what Bernie Sanders has said and just said, not then, but right now, regarding where we are.
We are living in a moment of extraordinary danger, and how we respond to this moment will not only impact our lives, but will impact the lives of our kids and future generations.
We have got to think in unprecedented ways. We cannot do today what we did yesterday. And that means we need a political revolution in the deepest sense. And that sense understands. I'm not Taylor Swift. In case you haven't noticed, we're not here as an entertainment show. We're not here to applaud Bernie. We are here to transform America, and the only way we do it is by transforming ourselves. Democracy is not an entertainment activity. It's not looking at somebody else. It's not a beauty contest. It's not a concert. It is getting active and standing up for the people next to us, the people on the block, and the people across the country.
And one of obviously the key differences between what we've seen from the GOP and Trump clan and what we do matters, because this is their idea of playing patriot and having a protest. This is their idea of it.
Wrongful capital injury. Wrongful capital injury.
January 6th.
And in this breaking story, What we officially see now, we see we the people, we have to be to change the course of the direction the Trump administration, all of his sycophants, his cabinet, including the Attorney General and everyone else. This is what we have to do to change the course of history right now. Take a listen to this. That's right. Those are everyday John Q. American citizens coming together in a very focused effort to shut down a congressional hearing that is related to the possibility, and right now I would say sadly the probability, of there being serious cuts in Medicaid and whatever the hell they might choose to do with regards to Social Security. This is what we have to do. Yes, we cannot stop. There is no end game. We have to continue to push all the way through. And on top of that, folks, what we do have to be willing to, and I don't just mean straight down ballot. I'm not intellectually and philosophically a straight down ballot kind of guy. But we have to put forth people in the midterms. We have to start right now and make sure that the people in the midterms are people like Ms. Slotkin, people like Katie Porter. We have to start having people who are going to come with specifics and details and not just be standard politicians. They have to be right on top of it, understanding that a lot of the Democratic narrative over the last 4 to 8 years in the face of Trump has gone a little bit too far this way, and get back a little more to, yes, we respect everyone's rights, but we also need to focus on these things right here, because Trump is going to push every single envelope he can until he is finally stopped. Affairs haven't stopped him. Criminal activity haven't stopped him. All the criminals around him hasn't stopped him. He's been impeached twice, and nothing has stopped him. So you take a guy who's been rich and elitist his whole life and add all of that to it, there is no stopping him unless we, the people, stop him. Because this man just went through the inauguration process, but he just got asked, do you believe that you have a right to go past the Constitution? And he literally said, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer. When you actually just said you take the oath to uphold the Constitution. So that moment right there of we the people, specifically at a congressional hearing, is what we all have to do all across this nation for the.
Okay, any comments on that? Everybody seen that video? Okay.
Your home is as unique
of going out of their way to let them in, but sending a government official to
Wrong video.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome to World Affairs in Context. Thank you so much for being here. President Trump just made one of the most controversial moves of his second term. He lifted all U.S. sanctions on Syria, which I discussed in great detail in my previous video that I just uploaded moments ago. And he also announced a $142 billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia. On the same day, on May the 13th, U.S. President made a shocking speech in which he said, quote, "The so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionalists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves." I'm sure that the neocons and warmongers would probably feel their blood pressure rise as they listen to that speech. Here's a very short clip that I prepared for you. Take a look.
And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spend trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national tradition.
Trump signed a record-breaking foreign arms sale to Saudi Arabia, a package that is worth nearly $142 billion, which the Trump administration describes as the largest defense sales agreement in history. The military-industrial complex is clearly celebrating a win today as the Middle Eastern tour continues with even more controversial activities planned as the U.S. president is set to meet former ISIS leader Ahmed al-Shara, the current leader of Syria that was installed after Bashar al-Assad fled the country. From purple carpets to AI mega deals, Trump's golf tour is turning heads worldwide. Here's a quick glimpse into the Saudi Prince MBS meeting President Trump on May the 13th. Take a look. The first stop of his latest Middle Eastern tour, President Trump said, the U.S. has no stronger partner than Saudi Arabia. So within hours, Trump announced a $142 billion arms agreement with the Saudis. And of course, this is a staggering deal that includes advanced aircraft, missile systems, and defense technology. But this is just part of a larger investment strategy with Crown Prince MBS effectively saying that the total package could be worth up to $1 trillion in the near future. So they will likely announce more deals during the Gulf tour. And so then came the real shocker. Trump pledged to lift all U.S. sanctions on Syria.
I will be ordering the cessation of sanctions against Syria in order to give them a chance at greatness.
As I said, I uploaded a separate video on the lifting of sanctions, which, again, I believe is necessary from the humanitarian perspective. The announcement sent waves through Washington and the international community. The sanctions, which have been in place for over a decade, were originally meant to isolate and to overthrow Assad at the expense of thousands of Syrian lives. Now, Syria has a new leader, Ahmed al-Shara, and so Trump is scheduled to meet with him on Wednesday in Saudi Arabia. Trump even admitted that the idea to lift sanctions came at the request of his, quote, good friend, the Crown Prince. And then with a smile, Trump said, quote, oh, what I do for the Crown Prince. So he indicated that the lifting of sanctions was very much part of a broader deal with MBS. This marks a dramatic shift in U.S. policy in the region, one that could redefine power dynamics across the Middle East. Recently, I uploaded a video where I shared the specifics about Qatar selling its oil via a pipeline that would go through the Syrian territory. Under Assad, this would have been completely unimaginable. Assad opposed this, but the Qatar-Turkey pipeline is just one of many new wins for Qatar and the West. But Trump's trip wasn't just about weapons and geopolitics. It was also about tech dominance. Joining him were business CEOs from the United States. We've got Elon Musk, Sam Altman of OpenAI. We got Larry Fink of BlackRock, and the CEO of NVIDIA, Jensen Huang. As Saudi Arabia seeks to diversify its economy away from being solely reliant on energy, MBS appears to be quite eager to pivot from oil to AI, and he's doing it very quickly. NVIDIA just agreed to sell over 18,000 of its latest AI chips to a Saudi company, and BlackRock will power new Saudi data centers using next-generation processors. So you see, politics and business these days are quite aligned. They're definitely the top priorities. Of course, this happens as former ISIS leader al-Shara continues violence and abuse of human rights in Syria, but that doesn't seem to be on the agenda or part of any diplomatic negotiations during the Gulf trip. President Trump also used the forum to push a dream that he's long held for Saudi Arabia to officially join the Abraham Accords, which means normalization of ties with Israel. But of course, there is a catch. MBS has made it quite clear before he doesn't want a deal unless the war in Gaza ends and Palestinians are guaranteed statehood. So Trump's influence is quite significant, of course, but as far as it seems for now, he can't, or he chooses not to, bypass that condition. The Gulf Coast trip appears to be more than just a diplomatic visit. It is a show of force. A billionaire-packed entourage, $142 billion in weapons, AI mega deals, and a complete foreign policy reversal in Syria. Trump appears to be betting that big business and not bombs will stabilize the Middle East. At this point, it's a gamble, and it remains to be seen what the next day brings.
Any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about that? Okay.
Shalom. I just want to make a comment on the first part of it. When Trump was speaking, I pulled up the little the video.
Something going on with your mic. Something going on with your mic.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can anyone hear me now?
You still got static. You got a lot of static.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna have to hang up and come back in.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, here we go. Some need to know information.
In order to disrupt the BRICS alliance. Y'all hear me today? And boy, was I right.
Nice Worry News app today.
Peace, family. My name is Vicky Dillon for African Diaspora in this channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Be sure as you come in, giving us a big thumbs up, and share the broadcast. That way other folks will know that we are here. And for that, we say thank you so very much. Family. I have got some very, very, very interesting news here. Family, first of all, I know you all certainly have heard by now about the outrageousness of Trump granting white South Africans, listen, refugee status here in the United States of America. Of course, we've known the drama for some time now. Now, I've got to say there was a reason for years. Me, your sister with the curly braids, this girl originally from Mississippi that lives now in Colorado in the wild, wild west of the United States. I know y'all were like, what is Vicky doing in South Africa? Why is she talking about these little seemingly secretive little House Foreign Affairs meetings and stuff? And why is she sounding the alarm about all of these little secret attacks? Because before this situation took place, South Africa was a target for the United States global geopolitical agenda. And they were using nefarious reasons to find ways to disrupt your economy. Watch this. One of the issues that I kept driving to you all is what's driving them for attacking South Africa years ago was because of its rise in BRICS, because of its connection to the new economic, political, and social world order. Talk black to me, somebody. And even though some of you all were talking about the obvious issues with South Africa's economy and so forth and so on, I knew that the United States government and her other Western allies were making mischief there in order to bring division and in order to disrupt the BRICS alliance. Are y'all hear me today? And boy, was I right. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Where's my gavel? With that being said, how many of you all remember my coverage that I did here a couple of months ago on me sounding the alarm about the fact that Armenian immigrants were getting $100,000 reparations write-offs because of a war that they had with Turkey almost 100 years ago? Now that's Kim Kardashian, them people, the Armenians. In current day, I proved to you all in no limited time that to this day, they were getting reparations write-offs. And some sources say they were double dipping to where they don't even have to report all their income from their other country. But in the United States of America, we're sitting up here giving them IRS write-offs, tax write-offs. Shout out to the FBA Black tax preparer that gave me that information. Why did that lady comment that? Why was I giving other information about this? Because of my coverage on who? Ukraine. What have I been covering for the past couple of years here on African Diaspora News Channel and other platforms? I've done several broadcasts on this. What was it? Didn't I tell you all that SSI had a certain provision to where Ukrainians were able to get what? A form of Social Security? How many of y'all been seeing that back-to-back coverage? Most recently, I was talking about the fact that tens of thousands of Americans opened up their homes so that some of these Ukrainians could qualify in order to get these benefits. Well, guess who's the latest? Guess what's happening in the latest? A line of injustices of folks, foreigners, that's getting benefits that foundational Black Americans don't get. Can the team put up the first article here? This article here that I want to just give you the background on before I go further. From CNN, it's entitled White South Africans Granted Refugee Status by Trump Administration Arrive in U.S. So y'all know about this, right? Shout out to Brother Phil. Shout out to my other colleagues that's been doing coverage here on that as well. But baby, we got to continue to sound the alarm. Talk black to me, somebody. Everybody be sure to hit that thumbs up button, share. I don't know how many people may or may not have received notification. Now, I want to read from this article, family, White South Africans Granted Refugee Status by Trump Administration Arrive in U.S., because I want you to just have a little bit of background. What does it say here? Yes? It says a flight carrying a group of 59 white South Africans granted refugee status by the Trump administration arrived in the United States on Monday. They were the first people to be granted refugee status by the Trump administration and are not expected to be the last Afrikaners to come to the U.S. The South Africans, including children, were greeted upon their arrival in Washington Dulles International Airport in Virginia by U.S., y'all listening, U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Christopher Lando and the Department of Homeland Security Deputy Secretary Troy Edgar. The Trump administration has moved to not only admit, but to expedite, pay attention, Black family, but to expedite the processing of Afrikaners as refugees for alleged discrimination. At the same time, are y'all listening? It has suspended all other refugee settlement, including for people fleeing war and famine. So the legit people that should be able to qualify to come to the country for war and famine, Trump suspended that for the white South Africans. Yes, it goes further. The policy of exempting only white South Africans from the indefinite pause has drawn criticism from the South African government and from refugee Africans. I'm going to say that again. The policy of exempting only white South Africans from the indefinite pause. From the indefinite pause. Where my intelligent Black people at? Where my intelligent white people that might be watching? Because I know that's some of y'all too. Some of y'all people in this game. Some of y'all listen to us. here.
Running is
Programs for small business startups. That's all I needed for now, team. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for posting that. The small business startups, family, do you know what that is about? Guess what comes with small business startup, family? If you know anything about the United States of America, there are all kinds of also tax write-offs and benefits that they get when they help them with those tax, they small businesses. Now, when you go to the IRS website, which is too much to get into today, because that's already 3 links. I'm gonna say this for my part 2 when I talk about the TANF stuff. Watch this. How many of you all remember when I broke down the Armenians getting reparations? And even some of the Ukrainians, there is a section based on certain treaties that we have, but also a refugee section that the IRS complies with, where they get specific tax write-offs. That's a similar section in the IRS link where the Armenians were able to write off up to $100,000 in the United States. Now, let me ask you all something. And shout out again to Brother Phil and our dear sister. Hold on, I wanted to get the link here. I think Renelway, hers was about what? White South Africans are the world's most dangerous races. Even their European cousins hate them. Talk black to me, sis. Look at the gavel on that title. I want y'all to check out my sister. She's straight from South Africa on that. And I'm looking forward to watching all of those too. But I want to give you all some other references here because we're trying to show you in no limited time. This is outrageous. Why am I bringing that up? Because Trump gave them this specific refugee status. Family, Social Security, a program that they're not paying into. How are we here in the United States of America paying into an SSI program, SSA program, and these folks just get to come over here and get it? Housing, as I showed you, transportation, right? Cash. Somebody say cash. Somebody put some dollar signs in the chat. Somebody put some money in the chat. Somebody put some credit cards in the chat. But small business startups. And then there's even evidence that they're going to be able to get tax write-offs. Now, let me ask you something. I brought up Brother Phil and my sister Renelway stuff because I thought we were supposed to be about America first. Somebody say America first. And Trump suspended some of the other more legitimate immigration status programs to expedite these white South Africans, even over us, y'all. Now, how in the world are we sitting up here accepting this United States government from both the Republicans and Democrats, telling us what they can't do for us, playing with us with reparation studies, saying even if they're talking about legit reparations bills, how many of you all know that these folks are getting immediate cash, housing, transportation, business startups, and tax write-offs? That is an immediate impact on their lives. That for Foundation of Black Americans, even if you don't call that reparations, if we have that particular status or we get those particular considerations just with the IRS alone, how many of y'all know that sounds like reparations to me?
Okay, any comments on that? Anybody saw that?
Shalom, everyone. Yes, sir. I did a little bit of that, and the normal status that they go through in order to come over here was bypassed, right? Don't quote me on this. I think it's called the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services or something like that. I think that's what it's called. But that was totally bypassed for the South Africans that came over. Trump signed a executive order for them, right? So they didn't go through the normal process of everybody else, even though, like she said, for everybody else, it has been put off, except for these people. And like I said, to me, don't seem like none of them was, looking bad or, lacking anything. So I was reading today, Brother Leonard, that the guy that handles Trump's crypto, that he is also from South Africa. So
Right,
we
Elon
can,
Musk too.
sir.
Elon Musk also.
Oh, yes, sir. Exactly. Yes, sir. So we can see why this has taken place the way it is.
Exactly. Anybody else? Yeah, remember they trying to get us out in the streets too. So this right here is outrageous. So this it's like to me, the attempt to try to make us protest or come in the streets.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Huh?
I was saying yes, sir. As they said, they're pulling every trump card they got to try to make that happen.
Exactly. Because this is crazy right here. And then, like I said, the guy running out to the airport to bring them in, like they some kind of foreign, government that's coming to visit America or something. They all pulling out the red carpets. And then, like you were saying, nobody was able to see the video what they had played, but they got on these the kids got on $100 headphones and all that. They ain't stressing. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, we're gonna open it up for some questions, comments, any dialogue. Anybody got anything from last night, during the weekend, last week? Anybody have anything they came across they want to talk about?
Shalom, everyone. Yes, sir. I do. I ran across some, information today because, like I said, the Republican parties, they're doing so much, and this is a tax bill, right? And the name of this tax bill, they are calling it the Big Beautiful Tax Bill, right? Which it targets a remittance transfer fee of 5% tax, right? So what that means is that if someone is sending a payment overseas, they will be taxed 5%, right? So I'm just going to read a little bit of this. Hopefully, we get an understanding out of this and the effect that it's going to have on a lot of people that's over here in the United States working and sending money back home overseas to their families to assist, because a lot of people really depend on this money that they come over here and make to send back home. That's the only income a lot of those families overseas have, right? Exactly. So it says the Republican lawmakers in the U.S. House of Representatives has introduced a draft bill that would impose a 5% excise tax on all transmittals sent abroad, and move likely to impact millions of immigrants in developing countries. According to the draft, senders of international money transfer would bear the cost of the tax, which would be collected quarterly by the U.S. Treasury Department. The bill is part of a broader strategy by President Donald Trump's administration to toughen economic and immigration policies. This bill would cover more than 40 million people, including green card holders and non-immigrant visa holders, such as people on H-1B, H-2A, and H-2B visa. Those are different type of visas people can apply for. U.S. citizens would be exempt from that, right? So according to the World Bank, transmittals sent to home countries in 2023 totaled about $656 billion, right? With Mexico being the highest. And in 2023, that grew by 7.6%. So, of course, the Mexican president, she had a lot to say about that, right? Remittances are also a major factor in global economics, often sent to American wire services rather than banks and credit unions. India, Mexico, and China are the biggest recipients of those funds, according to the World Bank. Other recipients that will be affected will be Africa, Haiti, Jamaica, El Salvador, Guatemala, only to name a few. So it's going to be a lot of people that's over here working, sending money back home, that's going to be affected by this. And even those places overseas, Brother Leonard, that is receiving these monies, they're going to be affected too. So Trump is not, he's not stopping. And we know that Africa, Haiti, in the Caribbean, places like that, they send a lot of money back home.
Right. Exactly. They find all avenues to cut everybody, cut all these countries, all these African countries, and bring them to their knees.
Right. Right. So if you're transferring money overseas, you can be expected to pay a 5%. And they're going to present that to Trump when he gets back. So we know he's going to sign it. They're pushing for that to be done. I want to say it said Memorial Day for that to be signed off on.
Okay. Is that something?
Yeah, that's something. That's just part of the beautiful tax bill. You guys have to read the whole thing. It's a whole lot in that tax bill.
Okay. There's a cutoff of Project 2025, huh?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. Is that something? Anybody else got anything on that? Or anything you want to talk about? Yeah, I want to play this right here. Like I said, from where I'm looking at it, it's going to come down to Trump going to turn on the American people. Like I said, that's what I believe will happen. But let's check this out. Okay, here we go. They got in the process right now trying to impeach him. So, but check this out.
Have accumulated a massive amount of wealth. It's blatant corruption, and things are only getting worse, as now we've been covering Trump is planning on accepting a $400 million luxury jet from Qatar. Apparently, Trump is really excited about this airplane. He's been pushing people to try and hurry up the process so he can finally get his precious new luxury jet. However, it appears that Trump's surprise present is facing some significant obstacles. And now Trump is in panic as Congress just took urgent action over Trump's Qatar jet gift. How's it going, everyone? My name is Hunter Avalone with Occupy Democrats. Welcome back to another video. Now we're going to get to this urgent action that Congress has just taken against Trump. But first, are you guys aware that Trump might be losing it mentally? Yeah, Trump and his supporters spent a lot of time criticizing Biden for mentally declining or something. Meanwhile, Trump is also mentally declining, and it hasn't stopped MSNBC from bringing this to millions of people's attention.
In this conversation here, I wrote down this note immediately. Why are we not talking about his mental acuity?
I mean, the last interview he did with Kristen Welker, he did not look as sharp, and he looked at least at a minimum tired. At worst case, he is not as sharp as he used to.
But I remember the ships coming over are empty. That means we're saving money. That is literally economically illiterate. His own people. Look at Steve Moore, Heritage Foundation, a guy who opposes tariffs, has been saying to people behind the scenes, actually has been saying it on Fox News, this is insane. I mean, you can tell Ken Griffin, who gave money, huge money to Republicans last year, including Trump, has said, this has made us 20% poorer in a month, done permanent damage to the American brand. And this isn't going to be something we can turn around from now.
Yeah, considering the fact that Trump's IQ appears to be dropping significantly faster than our taxes, I don't think this is that far off. But now we're getting much closer to Congress taking this urgent action. As we're all aware, Trump is poised to accept a $400 million gift from Qatar. And it hasn't stopped Trump from getting brutally roasted for this very fact.
First off, this is what we call a bribe. It's not a gift. It's a bribe. This is a bribe. This is a very, very expensive 747-8. It's a very fancy plane. And in fact, the reason I think that Qatar has been so smart about this is the interior decorating style looks like Saddam and Liberace's decorators got together and said, let's make a flying brothel that will appeal to Donald Trump. It is the most vulgar thing you've ever seen in your life. But that is this is a bribe. This is not a gift. It's not a loan. It's not a deal. It's a bribe. And we need to just recognize how transactional and corrupt this is.
Yeah, I mean, you love to see it, but Trump's problems are about to get significantly worse than just a minor roast on TV. The moment you've all been waiting for, because Congress has taken urgent action against Donald Trump's jet gift from Qatar, and it's not good for Trump. Take a look. In a major development that could escalate into a full-blown scandal, House Democrats are calling for a formal investigation into President Trump's plan to accept a $400 million luxury jet from the royal family of Qatar. A plane that would not only serve as a temporary Air Force One, but eventually become Trump's personal aircraft. That's the real bombshell here. According to Axios, Representative Richie Torres has formally requested probes from the Government Accountability Office, the Department of Defense Inspector General, and the Office of Government Ethics, demanding answers about whether this unprecedented gift violates federal ethics laws, or even the Constitution's emoluments clause. Torres is sounding the alarm, calling the aircraft a flying grift, and warning that Trump is using a taxpayer-funded loophole to convert a foreign gift into private property. Under the plan, the U.S. government would accept the plane now, on the public dime, and transfer it to Trump's private presidential foundation once he leaves office. And while the Qatari government is now walking back the story, claiming no final decision has been made, Trump has reportedly already toured the jet, known as a flying palace, earlier this year in West Palm Beach. This isn't just about luxury optics. This is about public funds, private gain, and potential constitutional violations. And now that calls for a full investigation are on the table, this story may be just getting started. Of course, I'm happy to see Congress giving Donald Trump a hard time about this, and I'm really curious what kind of information this investigation will yield. And again, I've said this before, but I think it's important. A lot of people, when they hear stuff like this, they think, yeah, but Trump is facing legal problems all the time, and it really hasn't stopped him. That might be true, but remember, it does slow him down. A lot of what Trump's presidency is now is running out the clock. If Trump gets caught up in a bunch of legal nonsense, at the very least, it will delay his aggressive agenda. And if you ask...
Okay, any comments on that? Anybody heard anything about that? Okay.
Shalom.
Yeah. Somebody got something?
No, I can't help but to think that plane is going to be filled with so many bugs that an exterminator is not going to be able to get rid of it. And I'm not talking about the bugs that crawl. I'm talking about the ones that listen in. You know, I think about, if you remember in the book of Maccabees where it talked about that our people were in the middle of a hippodrome and the king was going to ordered for the elephants to be made drunk so they can crush us. And yet he kept changing his mind and doing different things to where his own people thought he was crazy. And I think that's what's kind of going on with Trump, because I mean, he's all over the place. I mean, the decisions that he's making is so retarded. I just don't get it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and like I said, it's blatant what he's doing. He's stacking up all his money, all he can get while he's in there.
Yep.
Okay, son. So with that being said, we're gonna start doing our reading. We're gonna go to we reading out of Genesis. We're gonna be reading Genesis 46 through 50. Five chapters every Wednesday for reading through the Tanak. So we'll start with Genesis chapter 50. Genesis chapter 46. You want to read that, Michelle? 46. Hello?
Shalom, sir. I'll read it.
Okay.
Genesis 46. And Israel took his journey with all that he had and came to Beersheba and offered sacrifices unto the God of his father Isaac. And God spake unto Israel in the visions of the night, and said, Jacob, Jacob. And he said, Here I am. And he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not to go down into Egypt, for I will there make of thee a great nation. I will go down into thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again. And Joseph shall put his hand upon thine eyes. Verse 5. And Jacob rose up from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel cried, Jacob their father, and their little ones, and their wives, in their wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say cried. Carried Jacob their father and their little ones and their wives in the wagons which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. Verse 6. And they took their cattle and their goods which they had gotten in the land of Canaan and came into Egypt, Jacob and all his seed with him, his sons and his sons' sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all his seed brought he with him into Egypt. And these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt: Jacob and his sons Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and the sons of Reuben, Hanak, and Phalu, and Hazarn, and Carmi, and the sons of Simeon, and Jamil, and Jamin, Ohad, and Jachin, and Zozar, and Shaul, the son of Canadish woman. And the sons of the Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Mariah. And the sons of Judah, Onan, and Shelah, and Pharazee, and Zara. But and Onan died in the land of Canaan, and the sons of Hazar were Hezron and Hamul. And the sons of Issachar, Tola, and Phubal, and Job, and Shimron. And the sons of Zebulun, Seir, and Elon, and Hali, Elah. These be the sons of Leah, which she bare unto Jacob in the Panda Aram, with his daughter Dinah. All the sons of his sons and his daughters were 30 and 3. And the sons of Gad, Ziphanon, Haggah, Shana, and Esbon, Era, and Ardi, and Areli. And the sons of Asher, Jemanah, and Israel, and Izul, and Beriah, and Sarah, their sister. And the sons of Beriah, Heber, and Melchelel. These are the sons of Zephaniah, whom Laban gave to Leah his daughter, and these she bare unto Jacob, even 16 souls. And the sons of Rachel, Jacob's wife, Joseph and Benjamin, and unto Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, which Anastai, the daughter of Potipharah, and priest, and On bare unto him. And the sons of Benjamin, who were Bela, Bercher, and Ashbel, Jerah, and Naaman, Eha, and Rosh, Muppim, I'm going, y'all. And Hippim and Ard. These are the sons of Rachel, which were born to Jacob. All the souls were 14. Verse 23. And the sons of Dan, Heshman. And the sons of Nephtali, and Jezreel, and Gunna, and Jezer, and Shelem. These are the sons of Bilhah, which Laban gave unto Rachel his daughter, and she bare these unto Jacob. All the souls were 7. And all the souls that came from Jacob into Egypt, which came out of his loins, beside Jacob's sons' wives, and all the souls were 60. And the sons of Joseph, which were born unto him in Egypt, were 2 souls. All the souls of the house of Jacob, which came into Egypt, were the 60. Verse 28. And he sent Judah before him unto Joseph to direct his face unto Goshen. And they came into the land of Goshen. And Joseph made ready his chariot and went up to meet Israel his father to Goshen. and presented himself unto him. And he fell on his neck, and wept on his neck a good while. And Israel said unto Joseph, Now let me die, since I have seen thy face, because thou art yet alive. And Joseph said unto his brethren and unto his father's house, I will go up and shew Pharaoh, and say unto him, My brethren, my father's house, which were in the land of Canaan, are come unto me. And the men are shepherds, for their trade have been to feed cattle, and they have brought their flocks and their herds, and all that they have. And it shall come to pass, when Pharaoh shall call you and say, What is your occupation? Yet they shall say, Their servants' trade have been about cattle from our youth even unto now, both we and also our fathers, that ye may dwell in the land of Goshen. For every shepherd is an abomination unto the Egyptians. That was verse 46 of Genesis. Shalom.
Okay, you got any comments on that? Or
Shalom. Not really, sir, because it's telling about the generation and
right,
all of the sons of the sons.
right,
Excuse me. And they're saying, well, to what I'm thinking. So Joseph he has something he has to do now, and with all of this generation, they talk about it, and then he goes, to Pharaoh to tell Pharaoh what is going to happen. Shalom.
right. Yeah, the part out of this, they do this so much with the King James to start the information, but right here when met his father, and then they all went back to Egypt. But people don't know, it's right in their face, but they don't know it. Is that they ruled, they ran Egypt. It wasn't just Joseph. Once he brought his brothers back, they ruled Egypt, and then after that, it says that they died off, and then it says that the Pharaoh rose up after Joseph died. The Pharaoh rose up, didn't know them, didn't know about the Hebrews ruling in Egypt, and then so they put them in bondage. But during this time right here, when they was all there, all 12 of them ruled in Egypt. They was running Egypt. A lot of people don't know that. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Anil, you want to read 47?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Genesis 47. Then Joseph came and told Pharaoh and said, My father and my brethren and their flocks and their herds and all that they have are come out of the land of Canaan, and behold, they are in the land of Goshen. And he took some of his brethren, even 5 men, and presented them unto Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto his brethren, What is your occupation? And they said unto Pharaoh, Thy servants are shepherds, both we and also our fathers. They said moreover unto Pharaoh, For to sojourn in the land are we come, for thy servants have no pasture for their flocks, for the famine is sore in the land of Canaan. Now therefore we pray thee, let thy servants dwell in the land of Goshen. And Pharaoh spake unto Joseph, saying, Thy father and thy brethren are come unto thee. The land of Egypt is before thee. In the best of the land make thy father and brethren to dwell. In the land of Goshen let them dwell. And if thou knowest any men of activity among them, then make them rulers over my cattle. And Joseph brought in Jacob his father, and set him before Pharaoh. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh. And Pharaoh said unto Jacob, How old art thou? And Jacob said unto Pharaoh, The days of the years of my pilgrimage are 130 years. Few and evil have the days of the years of my life been, and have not attained unto the days of the years of the life of my fathers in the days of their pilgrimage. And Jacob blessed Pharaoh, and went out from before Pharaoh. And Joseph placed his father and his brethren, and gave them a possession in the land of Egypt, in the best of the land, in the land of Ramesses, as Pharaoh had commanded. And Joseph nourished his father and his brethren, and all his father's household with bread according to their families. And there was no bread in all the land, for the famine was very sore, so that the land of Egypt and all the land of Canaan fainted by reason of the famine. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought, and Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when money failed in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came unto Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. And Joseph said, Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle, if money fail. And they brought their cattle unto Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses. And he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. When that year was ended, they came unto him the second year, and said unto him, We will not hide it from my Lord. How that our money is spent, my Lord also hath our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in the sight of my Lord, but our bodies and our lands. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land be not desolate. And Joseph brought all the land of Egypt for Pharaoh, for the Egyptians sold every man his field, because the famine prevailed over them, so the land became Pharaoh's. And as for the people, he removed them to cities from one end of the borders of Egypt, even to the other end thereof. Only the land of the priests bought he not, for the priests had a portion assigned them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them. Wherefore they sold not their lands. Then Joseph said unto the people, Behold, I have bought you this day in your land for Pharaoh. Lo, here is seed for you, and ye shall sow the land. And it shall come to pass in the increase that you shall give the fifth part unto Pharaoh, and 4 parts shall be your own, for seed of the field, and for your food, and for them of your households, and for food for your little ones. And they said, Thou hast saved our lives. Let us find grace in the sight of my Lord, and we will be Pharaoh's servants. And Joseph made it a law over the land of Egypt unto this day, that Pharaoh should have the 5th part, except for the land of the priests only, which became not Pharaoh's. And Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt, in the country of Goshen, and they had possessions therein, and grew and multiplied exceedingly. And Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, so the whole age of Jacob was 147 years. And the time drew nigh that Israel must die, and he called his son Joseph, and said unto him, If now I have found grace in thy sight, put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and deal kindly and truly with me. Bury me not, I pray thee, in Egypt. But I will lie with my fathers, and thou shalt carry me out of Egypt, and bury me in their burying place. And he said, I will do as thou hast said. And he said, Swear unto me, and he sware unto him. And Israel bowed himself upon the bed's head. That was Genesis 47.
Okay, yeah, we see that Joseph was doing right here in verses 20. They doing the same thing now. It says 20. Joseph bought all the land of Egypt for the Pharaoh. So all the other Egyptians was the times was so hard they were selling everything, and by the time it was over, Joseph had bought everything for the Pharaoh because the famine prevailed over them. So the land became the Pharaoh in 21. And as for the people, check it out. As for the people, they farmers, they got farms and all this. As for the people, he removed them to cities. So he took them out of the rural areas and put all of them in cities. From the end of the borders of Egypt, even to the other end thereof. So he put all the people in the cities. What they're trying to do right now. Okay, I just thought that was kind of interesting. And another one was, I talked about this before, was just like today. Okay, it says when Jacob brought Pharaoh before when Joseph brought Jacob before the Pharaoh, he says that we're seeing Jacob blessed the Pharaoh. Let that from like Pharaoh supposed to, he was ruling the whole he ruling the whole world at the time, pretty much. And Jacob blessed him. And then he went out. So he came up there, laid his hands on the Pharaoh and blessed him. So Jacob got the power. Right? Got the Lord of hosts behind him. He laid hands on him. This is what I was saying about what these Negroes doing today. They leaving out. They got a power. They got the power, but they dealing with everything but the real power. Lord of hosts. So right here, Jacob laid his hands on Pharaoh and blessed him. Okay.
Shalom, sir. I have a question before you move on. If you know, why did Pharaoh ask Jacob how old he was?
Because of the way he looked. You go to even with Moses. Remember what it said? All our forefathers, it said Moses when he died upon Mount Nebo, he says he had his strength. He was strong, still strong, and I can't forget the word they said. But same way with Joseph. If you go to Azareth, I mean his daughter-in-law,
Yes, sir.
is in the Apocrypha, the 54 book Apocrypha. She, just like what people don't know is, just like they marveled over Joseph when they saw Joseph, his countenance. His frame he's of a beautiful countenance, just like David and Solomon. So they was freaking out on Jacob. We came to Egypt, but he 100 and some years old. So that's why the Pharaoh asked him what's your age, because he still had all his strength. He still was youthful and everything.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So you want to read 48, Mika?
Shalom. Joseph's sons visit Jacob. And it came to pass after these things, one told Joseph, behold, thy father is sick. And he took with him his two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. And one told Jacob and said, behold, thy son Joseph cometh unto thee. Israel strengthened himself and sat upon the bed. And Jacob said unto Joseph, God Almighty appeared unto me at Luz in the land of Canaan, and blessed me. And he said unto me, behold, I will make thee fruitful and multiply thee, and I will make of thee multitude of people, and will give this land to thy seed and thee after thee for an everlasting possession. And now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine, and Reuben and Simeon, they shall be mine. And thy issue, which thou begest after them, shall be thine, and shall be called after the name of their brethren in their inheritance. And as for me, when I came from Paddan, Rachel died by me in the land of Canaan, in the way when yet there was but little way to come unto Ephraim. And I buried her there in the way of Ephraim, the same in Bethlehem. Joseph and his sons blessed. And Israel beheld Joseph's sons and said, who are these? And Joseph said unto his father, they are my sons, whom God hath given me in this place. And he said, bring them, I pray thee unto me, and I will bless them. Now the eyes of Israel were dim for age, so that he could not see. And he brought them near unto him, and he kissed them and embraced them. And Israel said unto Joseph, I had not thought to see thy face, and lo, God hath shewed me also thy seed. And Joseph brought them out from between his knees, and he bowed himself with his face to the earth. And Joseph took them both, Ephraim in his right hand towards Israel's left hand, and Manasseh in his left hand toward Israel's right hand, and brought them near unto him. And Israel stretched out his right hand and laid it upon Ephraim's head, who was the younger, and his left hand upon Manasseh's head, guiding his hand rightly, for Manasseh was the firstborn. And he blessed Joseph and said unto God, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the God which fed me all my life long until this day, the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them, and name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into multitude in this midst of the earth. And when Joseph saw that his father laid his right hand upon the head of Ephraim, and displeased him, and he held his father's hand to remove it from Ephraim's head unto Manasseh's head. And Joseph said unto his father, not so, my father, for this is the firstborn. Put thy right hand upon his head. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people, and he also shall be great, but truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations. And he blessed them that day, saying, in thee shall Israel bless, saying, God make thee as Ephraim and as Manasseh. And he set Ephraim before Manasseh. Return to Canaan and foretold. And Israel said unto Joseph, behold, I die, but God shall be with you, and bring you again unto the land of your fathers. Moreover, I have given to thee one portion above thy brethren, which I took out of the hand of the Amorite with my sword and with my bow.
Okay. You got any comments on that? Any questions? Anybody got any comments or questions on that chapter? Okay. We go here to verse 5. It says, it just goes over a lot of people's head. Verse 5 says, and now thy two sons, so Joseph, two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee. So this came to the angel of the Lord. Lord of hosts came to to Jacob, and showed him this in a dream. He says, and this is how you have to rightly divide it anytime you're dealing with this. Verse 5 says, and now thy two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, which were born unto thee, they were born unto Joseph in the land of Egypt, before I came unto thee into Egypt, are mine. So the two boys belong to Jacob. They don't belong to Joseph. They belong to Jacob. So he says, in the land of Egypt, before I came unto Egypt, are mine, as Reuben and Simeon are also mine. So just like the other 12 boys, Jacob's, Ephraim and Manasseh belong to him too. 6. And thy issue which thou begot after them. So any boy, any kid you have after that is yours. But these first two boys right here, Ephraim and Manasseh, they failed to Abraham. See that? Shall be thine also be called after the name of their brethren in their inheritance. And as for me, when I came from Padan, Rachel died by me in the land of Canaan in the way. And when ye yet there was but a little ways to come to Ephrata. That's what I was talking about right here. When he told them to go and knowing David, that's the difference in knowing who the Messiah is when it comes to the Bethlehem in the New Testament and the Bethlehem in the Old Testament. It's Bethlehem Euphrates right here. See that? That's why it says a little ways to Euphrates. And I buried her there in the way of Euphrates. The same is Bethlehem. So when he told him to go and knowing David, he told him to go to Bethlehem Euphrates. But in the New Testament, they went to Bethlehem. Okay, big difference. So anyway, another thing was I keep on beating this into on the line 22. I said the 400 years is in Egypt, right? They was in captivity in Egypt. And it says right here in verse 22, 48 and 22, moreover, this Jacob, moreover, I have given to thee one portion above thy brethren, which I took, see that? I took out of the hands of the Amorites with my sword bow. So if you go to Genesis chapter 15, you're going to see that the Lord of hosts bring up the Amorites. So, well, you're trying to figure out where the 400 years is at. You got to deal with that too. That's part of the getting understanding. So he said they was going to go to the captivity in a strange land that's not theirs. They was going to afflict them. They were going to afflict them for 400 years. They were going to come out with great substance. All that happened in Egypt. And then it says they're going to come back here. So where they at? Where Abraham at? He's in the land of Canaan. They're going to come back here to the land of Canaan. And then he said, because he still got to deal with the Amorites. So like I said before, the Amorites ain't over here. So this ain't the place. The Amorites is in the land of Canaan over in Egypt. Anybody got anything else on that chapter? Okay. You want to read 49, AJ?
Shalom, yes, sir. In 49 it says Jacob's prophecy and blessing. And verse 1 says, and Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together, that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. Gather yourselves together and hear, yea, sons of Jacob, and hearken unto Israel your father. Reuben, thou art my first son, my might, in the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defilest thou it. He went up to my couch. Verse 5, Simeon and Levi. Simeon and Levi are brethren, instruments of cruelty are in their habitations. O my soul, come not thou into their secret, onto their assembly. Mine honor, be not thou united, for in their anger they slew a man, and in their self-will they dig down the wall. Cursed be their anger, for it was fierce, and their wrath, for it was cruel. I will divide them in Jacob and scatter them in Israel. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Judah is a lion's whelp. from the prey, my son, thou art going up. He stooped down, he crouched as a lion, and as an old lion, who shall rouse him up? The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall the gathering of the people be, binding his foal onto the vine, and his ass's coat onto the choice vine. He washed his garments in wine, and his clothes in the blood of grapes. His eyes shall be red with wine, and his teeth white with milk. Verse 13, Zebulun. Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Verse 14, Issachar. Issachar is a strong ass, couching down between two burdens, and he saw that rest was good, and the land that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. Verse 16, Dan. Dan shall judge his people as one of the tribes of Israel. Dan shall be a serpent by the way, and adder in the path that biteth the horse's heels, so that his rider shall fall backward. I have waited for thy salvation, O Lord. Gad, verse 19, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Verse 21, Naphtali is a hind let loose. He giveth goodly words. Verse 22, Joseph. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall. The archers have sorely graved him and shot at him and hated him, but his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the Almighty God of Jacob. From thence is from thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. Verse 25, even by the God of thy father, who shall help thee, and by the Almighty, who shall bless thee with blessings of heaven above, blessings of the deep that lieth under, blessings of the breast and of the womb. The blessings of thy father have prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors, onto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. They shall be on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. Verse 27, Benjamin. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf. In the morning he shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. All these are the 12 tribes of Israel, and this is it, that their father spake unto them and blessed them. Everyone according to his blessing he blessed them. And he charged them and said unto them, I am to be gathered unto my people. Bury me with my fathers in the cave that is in the field of Ephron the Hittite, in the cave that is in the field of Machpelah, which is before Mamre, in the land of Canaan, which Abraham bought with the field of Ephron the Hittite for a possession of a burying place. There they bury Abraham and Sarah his wife. There they bury Isaac and Rebekah his wife. And there I buried Leah. The purchase of the field and of that cave that is therein was from the children of Heath. Verse 33, the death of Jacob. And when Jacob had made an end of commanding his sons, he gathered up his feet into the bed and yielded up the ghost and was gathered onto his people. That's the end of chapter 49. Shalom.
Any comments on that?
Well, Brother Leonard, I actually read this earlier, but the yielding up the ghost, I had read this a few times. That mean they spirit going up to heaven, right?
Right, he ascended.
Right. Okay. Yes, sir.
So that's where all the rest of them at is in chambers in heaven, and that's where all this is at. So that's why when you write the divide was being said in Ezekiel 37, he's gonna the bones is here, still here on the earth in the graves. He's gonna resurrect those bones, put the flesh back on them. Then those spirits that's in heaven gonna come back in those bodies, and they're gonna stand on their feet. That's what the Ezekiel 37 is talking about. And they all knew this, which killed JC, because they already knew they was going to be resurrected. When nobody coming to die for their sins, they already knew they was going to get resurrected. Because that's what Daniel was telling them in the book of Daniel, that for the saints of the Most High, at the end of the fourth beast, the saints of the Most High, which is saints are they in heaven, they dead. They died and they went to heaven, gathered to their fathers. They're going to come back and they're going to take the kingdom. That's what Joel is talking about. They came back like the angels. The angels can shape shift and turn into fire and all that. They can. And David always saying, I talked about this before, those that going down to the pit. That's why he's saying that, because they rise. But it's some wicked people that came from the giants, from the angels sleeping with women, they don't rise. Their spirit don't rise. They go down into the pit. The reason why the Lord of hosts made Sheol and hell was for those people, those beings that's on the earth that didn't come from heaven. They go down into Sheol. But this, like I said, all they gave us is a rough draft of what Jacob told his sons, because he got a greater understanding in the Apocrypha, right?
Right, yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So they just a rendition of which is important to understand what he told them, because it's playing out today. But they don't that's not really the purpose of them even putting this in here. The purpose is, like I said, they just put enough in here to read you, to take you to JC, to the New Testament. But it's more detailed in the Apocrypha, what Joseph told each one of his sons. Okay.
Shalom, Brother Leonard. In the complete 54 book Apocrypha, is that in Ezra, 1st and 2nd, that which we can find more detail here?
No, it actually, okay, I don't know what the title is, but it's actually what, you know the name of it, AJ?
What? I'm sorry, which book, sir?
What's the name of that book that got those about the 12 sons, what Jacob told his 12 sons in the
Oh, yes,
Apocrypha?
sir. Yes, sir. It's in the 54 book Apocrypha. And
What is
then you
called?
can it's called the I'm sorry, it's called the Patriarchs, like the
Yeah, right.
12. I don't got the book in front of me, but it's called like the 12 Patriarchs of Israel.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I have the book in front of me.
Okay. Anybody else? Got anything on that
Shalom,
chapter?
Brother Leonard. I just have a quick question. So, and it's just a little bit off the topic, just a little bit. If we're going to be resurrected, the people that has passed away, then I just wanted a clear understanding. So, like, if somebody is cremated, is it wrong for somebody to be cremated?
Wrong to be cremated, but how that works, I don't know, because I know that when you go to the scriptures, you always talk about the valley of Hannah. So you got in the scriptures, in the first, second Chronicles, first, second Kings, it always tell you what each one of those kings did, whether he was righteous or whether he wicked. So it tells you that those wicked kings, their bones was taken out, or their graves and thrown out in the valley of Hannah. So how that work, I don't know, but I know that that's happened. So evidently those they're not going to be resurrected because the bones ain't there. Because they was worshiping, they lived and they ruled in Egypt, and they was worshiping Baal. They had the priest of Baal, they had a temple in Jerusalem, Baal. Those men, their bones spread it out in the streets, all in Atlanta. In the Valley of Hammond. So yeah, so to have your like I said, I don't know how that works, but to have your bones, have yourself cremated, you burn up your bones. So, yeah. It's the same way with circumcision. He says that if you ain't circumcised, the male ain't circumcised, he's destined for destruction. So how that work? We're gonna wait and see what the Creator's gonna do. Anybody else? Yeah, let me see what's up with this so I can get on some roller skates. Okay, it says nobody on the boat spoke Hebrew, neither were they persecuted as Jews. I'm bedazzled. I'm lost. What you talking about? Okay. So with that, I start reading chapter 50. It says, Joseph fell upon his face, and looked upon him and kissed him, and Joseph commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father, and the physicians embalmed Israel. And 40 days were fulfilled for him, for so are fulfilled the days of those which are embalmed. And the Egyptians mourned for him 10 days. And when the days of his mourning were past, Joseph spake unto the house of Pharaoh, saying, If now found grace in your eyes, speak, I pray you, in the ears of the Pharaoh, saying, My father made me swear, saying, Lo, I die in my grave, which I have digged for me in the land of Canaan. There shalt thou bury me. Now therefore let me go up, I pray thee, and bury my father, and I will come again. And Pharaoh said, Go up and bury thy father, according as he made thee swear. And Joseph went up to bury his father, and with him went up all the servants of the Pharaoh, the elders of his houses, and all the elders of the land of Egypt, and all the house of Joseph and his brethren and his father's house. Only their little ones and their flocks and their herds they left in the land of Goshen. And there went up with him both chariots, horsemen, and it was a very great company. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is beyond Jordan, and there they mourned with a great full lamentation. And he made a mourning for his father 7 days. And when the inhabitants of the land of Canaan saw the mourning in the floor of Atad, they said, This is a grievous mourning to the Egyptians, wherefore the name of it was called Abel Metharim, which is beyond Jordan. And his sons did unto him according as he commanded them. And his sons carried him into the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field at Machpelah, which Abraham bought with the field for possession of a burying place of Ephraim the Hittite before Mamre. So like I was saying before, you keep seeing in the scriptures that David saying that the Levites, they sacrificing before David said he's going to, on the high holy days, he's going to praise before the Lord, right? So you say, what are you talking about? Like I said, a lot of hosts is in the temple. They see him. A lot, certain men in the temple, they see him, they're dealing with him. The other 6 angels too. So right here it says, verse 13, for his sons carried him into the land of Canaan, buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham bought with the field for a possession of a burial place, say, of Ephraim the Hittite before Mamre. So Mamre is a giant. So the giant was there. So let's look at it. Go to Genesis 18, I think it is. No, let me get it. Genesis 15. Look at it right quick. Get an understanding. So it says, this when Abraham was to go rescue Lot, chapter 14, verse 13. And there came one that had escaped and told Abraham the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plains of Mamre, the Amorite. Mamre is the Amorite, giant. See that? Brother of Eskar. Eskar was a giant. And the brother of Anar. These were confederate Abraham. So he's an actual man, a giant. So you go back to over here where we at 50 in last verse 40, chapter 50, it says 13. And his sons carried him to the land of Canaan, buried him in the cave in the field of Machpelah, which Abraham bought with the field for a possession of a burial place of Ephraim the Hittite before Mamre. See that? So Mamre was there. Mamre, a giant. That's his area. And you go back to 18, go to chapter 18 right quick. Chapter 18. We should know about chapter 18. I'm always going to. So it says in chapter 18, these three angels came to Abraham. Chapter 18, and the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre. And he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. So that the plain, that whole area, the whole region belonged to this giant, Mamre. Okay. Any comments, questions?
Shalom. It also talks about Mamre in chapter 23. After Sarah, I believe Sarah, before she died, well, after she died, verse 17 it says, and in the field of Ephraim, which was in the Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees. So, like you said, these things are happening before Mamre, before the giant. Yes, sir.
But they in his territory, just like a lion mark his territory, whatever. You in his territory. So, and then he's aware that the cave is there. He's aware that Ephraim sold that to Abraham. It's his territory. Because we see right here, he was confederate with Abraham. He went to help Abraham rescue Lot. Yeah, let's look at that right quick before I close. So go to Melchizedek. Like I said, all these, the picture that most people have in their head, what's going on, that ain't what's going on. So go to Genesis 15, right? And it says, let me get it, 14. This when Melchizedek came. Let me get it. Let me see. Yeah, verse 17. And the king of Sodom went out to meet Abraham, after he returned from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer and of the kings that were with him at the valley of Sheba, which is in the Kingsdale, and Melchizedek, the Shem. Melchizedek, king of Shalom, brought forth bread and wine, and he was a priest of the Most High God, and he blessed him. So Shem is standing right here, right? Nobody had his picture in their head, but Shem was standing there, Abraham there, and he said, "Blessed be Abraham." Shem told him. Remember, Abraham was in Shem's house for 30 years. So he taught Abraham all he knew. He says, and he blessed him, and he said, blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thy enemies into thy hands, and he gave him tithes of all. Then 21, the king of Sodom said unto Abraham, give me the persons and take the goods to thyself. Then Abraham said unto the king of Sodom, I have lifted up mine hands unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, Lord of hosts, that I will not take from a thread, even of a shoelace, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou should say, I have made Abraham rich. Then here you go. Save. Abraham worrying about his men with him. Save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, Anar, Eshcol, and Mamre. See that? Let them take their portion, these giants. So the picture you've been had when you was in the church house, you know, in Baptist church, you wouldn't, it's that same picture.
Yes, sir.
So
So I have a question. Was Mamre one of the giants that was circumcised?
yes, they all were circumcised. When Abraham got circumcised and the land was given over to him, he received all seven races of giants that were there. Jebusites, all them giants was given over to him. That's who fighting with Abraham. And that's what the battle was about. When you go to, you got the book of Og, and you got the book of Cain or Lamech, and it tells you in there that the war was about the king that came, Shalimar, and what his name? Can't think of the giant. Og. They hated the giants that got circumcised. So that's what it was all about: circumcised giants against uncircumcised giants.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Right. So with that being said, we're gonna somebody got a scripture they want to bring out. You can read it and break it down.
Shalom, Brother Leonard. Can we go back to Genesis 48?
Okay.
And I meant to highlight this when the question time came up, but when we were just reading it, but 15 and 16, when it says, and he blessed Joseph and said, God, before whom my fathers Abraham and Isaac did walk, the God which fed me all my life long unto this day, the angel which redeemed me from all evil, bless the lads, and let my name be named on them in the name of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and let them grow into a multitude in the midst of the earth. This was Jacob talking, and he's saying that an angel redeemed him and fed him all his life, plain as day.
Right. So it's a lot going on with that, and that's where so much I've been looking at since I was called out, since the Lord of hosts snatched me up, is that the brothers say they're awakening, and they haven't gotten to this understanding to understand that the God that's over the Israelites is the angel, which is Michael with the sword. He's the one of those. So we see in different passages. You read them back in the day, they didn't make any sense. But when you understand who God is that's over Israel, it started to make sense. So Jacob just said, the God that walked with me all my life, right?
Yes,
Right,
sir.
sir.
Then he said, then he come and let you know it's an angel. Well, Moses walked with him. So if Jacob walking with the angel, that's who Moses was walking with. That's who Noah was walking with. That's who came in the cool of the day. to deal with Adam. And so David said, Jacob said, he redeemed me. So what did he do to Adam? Didn't he redeem Adam?
Right.
So that's what it is right there. But you got so many people set in their ways, and then we got half of the story, half-ass awake, and they ain't getting it. But it's all right there. We see this in the scriptures what we just read in 18. 3 angels came to Abraham, and one of them is the Lord. The Lord of what? The Lord of hosts. He's the strong one over the Most High's kingdom. He says, Satan and his angels, Lucifer and his angels came to fight with the war in heaven broke out. Satan and his angels came and fought with who? Michael and his angels, Lord of hosts. Michael is the Lord over the most. That's the Lord of hosts. That's like now in 2025, that's like 101, Bible 101. So that's beyond a shadow of a doubt. There's too many verses, 23 and 20. Okay. Let me see what's going on with this, man. I'm being nice today. It says, I don't know who this is. It might be Ken. I'm in Louisiana, DeRidder, Louisiana. Born and raised, so we might be 337-802-0889. You can call me. We can try to connect them dots. Yeah. Somebody had a scripture.
Shalom. In the Apocrypha 54 book, chapter 19 of First Enoch, and Uriel said to me, the messengers who have connected themselves with women will stand here, and their spirits, assuming many different forms, are defiling mankind and will lead them astray into sacrificing to demons and gods. They will stand there until the day of the great judgment, in which they will be judged until they are made an end of. And also the women of the messengers who went astray will become sirens. And only I, Enoch, saw the vision and the ends of all things, and no man will see as I have seen. So Uriel, the angel, as we talking about the angels, he was saying this to Enoch about what was to come of those other angels that weren't circumcised, correct?
Right, the angels are the giants, the ones what we was talking about earlier, but the angels was already, all the angels was circumcised, and Jubilees tell us they was all circumcised when they was created, formed.
Yes, sir. I apologize. I meant to say the giants, not the angels. Yes, sir.
Right. So yeah. So to put that in perspective, he created 7 angels from fire, formed them. So the first one was Michael, Raphael, then Uriel third. So when you see the 3 angels in the book of Daniel, Michael, Uriel, and Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, that's 3 angels that's there dealing with Daniel.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Order they came in, yeah. So with that being said, we're gonna say shalom, shalom. We have our women's advanced Bible study tomorrow. Men can come in through YouTube. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Shalom.
Shalom, everybody.
Shalom, everyone.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it, because it's a must that you understand who God is that's in the Old Testament, in Tanak, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up, and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is, and the Godhead.